Welcome, everybody. My name is Dr. Cale Keegan, and I'm making you a quick course tour introductory video for our class that we're going to be conducting asynchronously this semester, which is called WGS 255, Gender and Popular Culture. I'm really excited to have you in this class. It's I think, a really fun class, and as you can tell from the image I'm screen sharing with you, we're going to be looking at some major blockbuster films from the past 7 years or so, as well as a lot of other types of media, to analyze gender, race, sexuality, disability in the shared culture of the United States. So this video is just a video to get you started with the first week of content in the course, and then I'll be making you additional videos that will come out on Fridays, guiding you through the actual content of the class. So let's get started and talk a bit about how to navigate through the materials I've provided to you. First of all, a quick introduction to me. My name is Dr. Cale Keegan. I use he, him pronouns. I am an associate professor of women, gender, and sexuality studies here at Grand Valley. My PhD is in American Studies from the University at Buffalo. It's my 8th year here at Grand Valley. And a little bit about me, you'll learn a lot about me over the course of the semester, and I'll learn about you, but a small detail about me is that I'm a gamer. I didn't start gaming until I was in my late 30s. I'm primarily play on PlayStation. I'm also a cat person, and my favorite holiday is Halloween, but I really love the entire fall season, which I guess makes me kind of basic, but you know, it's fall, it's great, who cares? And lastly, my research specializations are actually in LGBTQ media history and media aesthetics. So I do a lot of work studying the types of media that LGBTQ people make and also consume. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm going to have you do an exercise on Blackboard that tells me a bit about you, as well as gets you to share among yourselves as a class in terms of getting to know each other. A few details about this class. First of all, we are meeting online. All the content on this course will happen on our Blackboard site, except for various emails you might send me. We are meeting asynchronously, which means there's no dedicated class meeting time. You're kind of moving through the materials at your own pace, although I do provide a workflow schedule for the course, meaning that materials kind of open up on Monday morning. They're there for you to work through. And then on Friday, I will give you a video lecture kind of unpacking and distilling some of the most important points in that material. Then on Sundays, you'll often have work related to that week of material due. Generally, almost, I think every due date in this semester's course is like a Sunday by midnight, basically. So, you know, plan around that schedule as you can. Basically, Monday through Friday, you're doing reading on your own or watching films or doing other kind of media content review. Fridays, there's some video content I'd like you to engage with, take notes on. And then Sunday, there's going to be like an interactive kind of discussion activity or other kinds of due dates. We are starting this course Monday, 8/29, not 30, which is, you know, 2 or 3 days from now. So you will, I'll take you over there in a second, but you will see there's already content on Blackboard there for you for week 1. If you'd like to talk to me about anything regarding class, your studies, your plans, just to get to know you better, to touch base personally, my office hours this semester are going to be Tuesday and Thursdays, 1 to 2:30 p.m. However, I do meetings by appointment as well. So if that time doesn't work for you, just let me know. We can meet in person if you happen to be on campus. Also, Zoom is an option if you are, you know, remote and not able to meet in person. You just have to request a modality from me. A little bit about this class. I'm assuming a lot of you signed up because it carries a couple of GE requirements, and it's a fun course. There's a lot of kind of contemporary media content in the course. But what are we actually doing in this course? We're actually learning how to analyze pop culture using a number of theoretical models, feminist, queer, and critical race theoretical perspectives. So we're going to be looking at gender, sexuality, and race particularly, through these theoretical models developed by cultural studies scholars. We're also going to be thinking about, particularly about gender itself and how it's constructed by media and by sort of like cultural circulation of texts. We're going to think about social construction and how that plays a role in kind of determining how we all live out gender, sexuality, and race as we see it reflected in popular culture. And we'll be thinking about how pop culture creates a shared culture that people in the United States and North America more broadly come to kind of share and identify with. And we're going to be doing that using a range of different cultural texts, which I'll talk about in a second. And of course, the course fulfills the U.S. diversity and fine arts GE requirements at Grand Valley. So just a little bit about where we're doing all this work. So everything is going to be on Blackboard. I'm going to take you there in a second, but I'll ask you at getting started with this video to begin with the Begin Here tab, which is a tab I've built for you that has a lot of resources in it, just kind of questions you might have, stuff that's already there available to kind of help you around different kinds of confusions or lack of information, questions you might have that are more broad. Once you've kind of looked at that and decided whether or not you need to look at any of that material, you can navigate to the syllabus and schedule tab. I'm going to also take you there in this video and take a look at the course itself. What are the assignments? What does the schedule look like? What are the policies, right? You'll notice that I've assigned the syllabus as reading for this week coming up, and that's because we can't go over it synchronously together. So it's really important that you review those guidelines and policies and deadlines and due dates and stuff on your own so that we have shared working knowledge. So that's recommended that you look at that stuff. And then you'll notice a tab called weekly content. And this is where you'll see tab for week 1, tab for week 2, right? This is where our materials and activities are going to be loaded in by week, following along with the course schedule, right? So you'll see the course schedule will have dates and titles, and those will align with the weekly schedule under the weekly content tab, right? Right now, there's kind of a skeleton in there with materials for the first couple of weeks in there. Of course, as we move forward through the semester, I will be adding in content. I just want to make absolutely sure everything's working before I build out too far in case we need to tweak or fix anything that's not working for people. So that's why we're just starting out with a couple of weeks of content there for you to take a look at. So every week, basically, this course will flow like this. On Mondays, you're going to be looking at the materials there, marking them up, taking notes. I would recommend printing them out or pulling them onto a tablet or something where you can actually highlight areas of those materials. That's going to be really good for your recall and your ability to kind of navigate the breadth of the material. Monday through Friday, you'll be doing that work. On Friday, before noon, I will be posting a video lecture every week, walking you through some of the most important points in the material, raising new questions. Sometimes I'll introduce an activity that we're going to be doing in our groups over the weekend. So be watching for those alerts that you know that the video is available and that you'll have time to review it. And then once you've reviewed the video, and again, I would encourage you to take notes on the content there, you're going to navigate to the discussion groups tab, which is kind of below the weekly content tab on Blackboard. And there'll be a prompt there for you to engage with in your assigned group due by the end of Sunday. So that's kind of the weekly workflow structure here. And then every Monday, the pattern will reset. Okay. So what I'll do is take you over to the Blackboard window here. You'll notice if you don't know how to get to Blackboard, a really easy way to find it is to go to the GVSU website and just click the Blackboard tab here, and you'll be able to sign in with your credentials. And it will take you to this sort of ultra landing page. We have a new Blackboard system, which is why a lot of your professors don't know what we're doing because they completely changed the program we're using. So bear with me. The way to get to your courses is to click the courses tab, and there you'll see all the classes you're taking. And here is ours, right? Gender and popular culture. So as I mentioned, announcements, anything I email to you will show up here. There's a little bit of information about me here, best ways to get in touch with me, some duplicated information from the syllabus. Here is the Begin Here tab I asked you to review with a lot of materials about Blackboard, online learning, what is ungrading, which is a grading style I'm using in this class, which I'll talk about in a second, library links, writing center links, Zoom, in case you don't know how to find Zoom or how to get it on your device, and also some resources for emergencies. So reviewing this as needed is good. And then here's the syllabus and schedule, right? So of course, you probably want to know what we're covering in the class. Right here at the top of this section is our weekly schedule, right? So you can see week 1, which begins this coming Monday and ends that Sunday, the 4th, we are just getting into why even look at pop culture as a source of meaning, right? What sort of value systems are we engaging in when we do this kind of analysis? What are the big questions? What are the big issues? And you'll notice I've got assignments here for you, right? Between Monday and Friday, I'd like you to watch this video, the course tour video, read the course syllabus, and then read these short little readings that are loaded onto Blackboard under the week 1 tab in weekly content, right? Those are your kind of getting started readings. Friday, there will be a video lecture. I'll also have posted a discussion topic in the discussions tab for you. And then by Sunday, end of day, I'd like you to have done that discussion activity internal to your group on Blackboard, okay? That repeats every week. You can see we're going to be doing a unit on how to analyze gender, sexuality, and race from different theoretical perspectives. We're going to do some sort of more scholarly reading before getting to any primary texts, learning how to use feminist, critical, Black, and queer analytic frameworks for popular culture. And then in unit 2, we get into cultural forms, like what types of forms do pop culture texts take? How does understanding form help us read those texts critically? And this is where we start to get into, we're going to be reading a comic book called Bitch Planet. We're going to be playing a video game called Gone Home, sort of separately but together. We're going to be reading about games. We're going to be reading about comics. After fall break, we will get into thinking about DIY pop culture, like zines and vlogging, and thinking about platforms like YouTube. And then this sort of unit 3 of this class is reserved for film analysis. So we'll be looking at 3 major motion pictures. Get Out, directed by Jordan Peele. We're going to look at Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins. And then our final text together is Mad Max Fury Road, directed by George Miller. Okay. So every week, the flow should flow. That Monday, Friday, Sunday flow should be in effect. And this is where you go to find what you're supposed to be looking at. Okay. Here is the course syllabus. This is required reading for this week coming up. This, I'll leave it to you to peruse. It's a very long document with a lot of details in it. Basically, what you should know is, what do you need to be successful in the course? What are my expectations as a professor? And then, how do you meet those expectations? So really quickly, we've got all our objectives, but here, required text, right? These are things you're absolutely going to need to have access to do well in the course. Bitch Planet, I've ordered for you at the GB bookstore, so it's there. You can also get it from Amazon. It's like $10. It's not very expensive. Keep in mind, you're going to need that by about week 4 of the class. So getting it soon is good. This video game, Gone Home, is a PC game, so it can live on a desktop, it can live on a laptop, it can live on an Xbox Series X or earlier model, it can live on a PS4 or 5. It can even, I think, be played on a smartphone. But you should go about finding a way to getting this onto a device where you can play it. You can download it for Mac or Windows from the game page or from Steam if you have Steam on, which is just sort of like an app platform. If you have Steam on a device, you can add it through Steam. And then the three films we're watching, Moonlight, Mad Max, and Get Out, all stream from GV libraries. So you should be able to get them for free through the library website. I've provided links. If you want your own copy on a separate device, I've also provided Amazon video links here where you can purchase digitally. Okay, so those are our 5 main texts. There are going to be others assigned throughout the semester that are easy to grab onto, but these are the sort of core 5 things we're going to be analyzing. I have a lot of notes about materials here that you can review. I do want to go over a little bit here. The attendance policy doesn't apply, right? But I do pay attention to your participation in the elements of the course, whether or not you're showing up and doing them, whether you're offering valuable insight, whether you're applying yourself, whether you're active in the course. I can see on my end when you're in Blackboard and when you're not, right? So those sorts of things matter a lot in asynchronous course. They're even more important than if we were meeting together physically because we have to work harder to get to know each other. So, there's no attendance policy, but if you're not in the course, you're not in the course, right? And I actually track participation through a value system I call showing up, which I'll cover in just a second. In terms of grading, I actually feel that grades are less useful to learning than we assume. I feel like they encourage perfectionism and anxiety in students, and ultimately really don't serve us very well as a sort of capitalistic hierarchical way of evaluating people. And so in my classes, I use something that's just a simple pass, no pass system for most regular work. So what you'll see on your discussion group entries weekly is a really simple pass, no pass evaluative index where I'm noting like, is your work doing these things that are listed under the pass category, or is it missing the mark in some key way, thereby getting a no pass? Now, I know that feels high stakes, but please pay attention to this bolded print here in this section. You can submit late work up to 48 hours past the due date, except for the final assignment in this course. Now, is that an excuse to just never turn anything in on time? No, that's going to really degrade other people's experience of you and your group. So it really should only be used in emergency situations, but you should never feel like just because something was due and you didn't get to it for some reason that day that you can't turn it in, okay? Additionally, if you receive a no pass on a weekly assignment that I've looked at that was like submitted on time, you are permitted 1 week to revise that with my feedback for a pass. So anything that doesn't quite hit the mark, you get another shot at revising and submitting to me to get it up to the level it needs to be at to get that pass, okay? So, that's something we would work out through Blackboard. You can resubmit or reattempt your submission on Blackboard and revise your entry. As for the larger formal assignments in this class, which I'll go over in just a second, those will be like evaluated using a qualitative rubric, which I will give you ahead of time. So again, those won't be pass, no pass. That'll be more qualitative and formative feedback there than just 2 categories. And over the course of the semester, you'll be building a portfolio of work that will track really closely with these qualitative formative models I'm using, and then your final grade will be supported by that narrative that I've provided to you. So if you're looking to get an A or a B finally in this class, you really should go for completing 85% of the work, right? And any no pass you get, you should work on revising up to a pass. That's a good way to know you're on track for like, A or B level final grade. I'll be doing some check-ins with you over the course of the semester about your performance and how you feel you're doing so we can stay on track. In terms of what we're doing, showing up, that is, investment, preparation, openness, risk-taking, and integrity are those things I'm looking for from you. That's about 10% of, your formal point value that I'm going to be reserving to kind of consider where has your performance landed in the class. There are going to be analysis group discussions that I'll show you in a second, that account for 45% of your grade in total. So routine, informal, sort of critical thought is really the major assignment in this course. There'll be a midterm reflection, sort of like a short essay I'll ask you to write. And then the final project is a paper and or video sort of media project, depending on your preference, that you're going to prepare in response to one of the 5 primary texts that we're engaging with in the course. So there's more about this, and I will be providing you with a lot more instruction in the videos and via email about these assignments as they approach. So it's nothing to get too worried about right now. But they are described in detail in the syllabus, right? So you'll see group discussions have instructions about how to do that properly. And then there is a staged process for the paper/project where you're doing a proposal, and then you're submitting a short research bibliography, and then you're finally turning in your work at the end of the semester. Keep in mind, this could be an essay if you're comfortable with writing. It can also be a video essay. You could make a comic about, with like characters discussing the text you selected to analyze. You could, record yourself giving a lecture. You could do a narrated slide deck. You could even, if you got really creative, like record a couple of songs about the text you picked with sort of critical analysis as lyrics. So for those of you who really like to be creative with projects, I really welcome a really broad range of formats for this work. And we can talk more about that as we get closer to the end of the semester. And here's the course schedule again, right? So there are no big surprises here. There's weekly routine discussion that's due, and a couple of other formal assignments, but really it just is every week us talking and geeking out about media together. And I hope it's going to be pretty chill, pretty fun, and really also stretch your thinking about like, what is pop culture and why is it so meaningful to us, right? So that's the syllabus, right? It's right there for you. It's also assigned in weekly content. So here in weekly content is where you go to find all the stuff that's on the reading schedule. So you'll see already I've got the first 5 weeks in here kind of as a skeleton. To find the content, you're going to click into week 1, which has the same title as is on the reading schedule. And you'll notice here there's a folder for Monday. And here's where the materials are, right? So the video will be here. This is the syllabus again. And then you've got a couple of short readings that I'd like you to look at and mark up and take notes about. And then I will be alerting you for Friday when Friday's lecture comes up, right? And that will be right here for you to review. And then finally, to cap the week off, right, intro group discussion. So I'll put a reminder here every week for you to go over to groups and discussions, which is right here, click in and find your discussion group, and then look at the prompt and engage with it. So you'll see something different from what I am seeing probably here, but depending on what group you're in, your group will be here. I've already randomly enrolled you into groups. So let's just say discussion group 1 has a few people in it. You're going to go to group discussion board, and this is where you're going to actually conduct your conversation. So for this coming Sunday, it's a really basic prompt. I'm just asking you to introduce yourselves to each other in your group. So the prompt is, this week we are getting started by introducing ourselves to our other group members. Please provide a written or video intro, right? You can film yourself on your phone and upload it, right? You can make a TikTok and upload it here. Giving your other group members a sense of who you are, what you like to do, describing your interest in this class, maybe sharing some pop culture that you're really into, like what are your favorite music artists? Do you have favorite celebrities, movies, TV shows you're watching, video games you're playing, right? And I would also encourage you to like embed images or give people links. Like maybe you have an Instagram you're comfortable with sharing with your group members, just to get to know you better, right? So the way you do this is to actually click into here and then click create thread. And this is where you're going to create your post. And when you're done, you're going to hit submit, and that will make it visible to me as well as your other group members, not the whole class, just your group. Okay. Every group has about 4 to 5 people in it. At midterm, I'm actually going to reshuffle these so that you get new people to talk to, and we'll start this introductory process all over again. Okay. So by Sunday evening, you should have done this. Okay. Yeah, and that's about it for the Blackboard site so far. As I mentioned, more and more things will be showing up in the content section, and there'll be more and more announcements. There'll be more and more discussions that I'll have you engage in. But that is the basic pattern we're going to be following. So you might be wondering, like, what's next? What do I do next for this week? Okay, so remember, content for Monday is available. That's really where you should go after the Begin Here tab, right? You're going to look at those readings. You're going to maybe generate some questions that you want to ask or that you want to articulate around. You're going to take note of anything that doesn't make sense, right? And then my video lecture for Friday will be posted before noon on this coming Friday. I'll alert you that that's up and you can review it, right? And then remember, your first group discussion is going to be due Sunday evening. And that's your getting to know your group post, okay? And then week 2 content will be loaded in before that Monday. So the next day, you'll have another set of readings or videos or stuff to look at, and we'll repeat the pattern. Okay, so that's all I have for you today in terms of getting ready to start class. Please do email me if you have any questions or have any trouble accessing anything on Blackboard. My email is on the syllabus. It'll also be, you can just reply to the announcement I'm about to send you with this video embedded and ask me questions there. And I really look forward to working with you this semester to talk about pop culture. Okay, take care.